All right, welcome back to another edition of Tai Chi at the Dojo. I'm Carlos. Welcome back to all our regulars. Great to see you again. If you're new, welcome. And just a little note for historical sake, the governor has said that gyms are free to open now, and we technically qualify as a gym. We decided as a class to give it a little bit longer, and if history should show that COVID came back with a vengeance, then you can't blame us. And on the other hand, if history shows that COVID was scarcely worse than the flu, then it'll all be okay, because it got me to make some videos, which I resisted. I either resisted on philosophical grounds or I just procrastinated. Let's do some shoulder rolls. Either way, we get to you get to study with some videos. Again, remember, during this time you can be learning your form, and you can at least be roughing it out. I've heard stories of teachers referring to it as stealing the form. When you observe it, you learn it by observing, and you might not know the minutia, but you can rough it out. Let's go around the other way. And by roughing it out, I mean which foot is forward, which foot is back, which hand is forward, which hand is back. Is my weight forward? Is my weight back? Is the weight to one side? So these are the things, is my palm facing up? Is my palm facing down? You can just rough that stuff out. And I hate to say it, but in some classes, that's all you'll learn. So let's do some careful neck movements, look up and down. Speaking of left hand, right hand, let me run and go grab my gloves so it's easier for you to make out the left and the right to these movements. So why don't we start looking from side to side, and I'll be right back. You stay doing that. Keep going. And then let's look straight ahead and tip the head from side to side. Okay, as always, the right hand is orange and the left hand is yellow. Okay, then massage the neck and shoulders a little bit, just to work out any last tension before we begin. Another thing you can do before you even press play is a little bit of meditation, and this is something that I wish that I have done. I've been in the presence of some really great teachers who have chosen to impart great knowledge to me, but my mind was elsewhere. I couldn't really absorb what was going on just because of normal daily life. So, but 5 minutes of meditation before class will just put your mind in a really receptive mood for learning and allow you to focus. That's what I lack is focus. But we do the best we can. So let's do monk picking fruit, and see if you can see my hands. No, you can't. I'm going back here. So remember, This is really relaxing and refreshing, but it's demonstrating right away one of our basic concepts is not everything is going up. Much is going sinking as we reach up. I'm still sinking my heels into the floor. Remember, we never overcommit in Tai Chi, ever, ever, ever. We always keep our center. And our center is surprisingly small. So if I just reach up a little bit higher, come up onto my toes, I've lost my center right there. Boom. So this center is this very small space. It doesn't really exist anywhere. So let's do our big double teacup exercise, and this will really open us up, and this will really wake us up. We determined a couple of weeks ago that under normal circumstances we would be rushing around. I'll turn sideways. We would be rushing around all over town, coming into class and be all keyed up. But right now, the opposite is probably true. Hey, I'm going to close the window to cut down on noise. You keep going, keep going. I'm going to turn to the other side. So remember, as we go back, you can lean forwards if that helps. And then as you come around to the sides, you can lean back if that helps. Keeping your... So again, things that we do in exercises and in Qigong and in Jibin Gong like this, these are things we would never do in our form, right? We would not lean back like this. That's why we do this. Because if you only practiced your form, I mean, that'd be great, but you wouldn't get this massive opening of the upper body. Go as slow as you need to, and you don't have to make as big of movements as I do. As I always say, I'm just exaggerating just for your benefit so you don't lose anything in the subtleties. So this can be done in the opposite direction. So you'd go forward, out, back, and around, and forward, out, back, and around. How about one more? Forward. So, it's too late to tell you now, but you would, if you started watching this video and you just weren't warmed up at all, that's a pretty dynamic move to do when you're not warmed up. But the best warm-up, they say, is just a small version of what you're about to do. That doesn't matter if you're going to a batting cage. If you're going to a batting cage, don't do yoga stretches first. Just do some, gentle swinging bats around, right? Nothing wrong with yoga, but if you're gonna do sprints, do a few jogs first. So you just do what you're about to do and do it lightly. They say that's the best warm up. Okay, you can stretch later, and you can always do yoga and stretch, but you should warm up by doing a little bit of what you're about to do. So that's our big double teacup. How about, we didn't get any side stretch there, so let's do immortal points the way. This is a very two-dimensional movement, so we can point with two fingers. This is our, they call this a sword hand. And how about this? Next time we come up and over, my orange hand is not going to cross my body. It's going to just reach up and over, and I'm looking towards my yellow hand. And this is a side stretch through here. I'm not super exaggerating this because I can feel it already. I don't need to exaggerate it. Okay, so we also just broke another rule of Tai Chi where we're holding, but that actually is another discipline called Ding Shi, right? So holding postures, here we go. So holding postures is done in Tai Chi, it's just not done in our form, right? So I don't mean that we're breaking a rule, but we're doing something that we would not do in our form. We never stop in our form, right? And this movement actually, I believe this movement actually exists in a couple of forms, not the one that we do. One more time to each side. And of course, please, 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 if you want, pause your video and do this 10 times, okay? But I'm just doing it twice to each side. Here we go, last one on this side. Nice and smooth. And again, keeping my feet parallel accentuates this. If I was to kind of turn to this direction, I ruin this. I lose all my side stretch, right? So sometimes, so that's also very Tai Chi, to restrict movement in order to focus energy. If there's another example of that today, I'll point it out to you. Okay, great. So that's immortal points the way. So we've moved our spine in the sagittal plane, in the frontal plane, and now in the transverse plane or twisting. We will do another Qigong called Lion Rolls the Ball. And this is a big version of a ball. We've done this, almost the same thing with the moon, but when the lion rolls the ball, it's big. So you'll remember this, and this is also, so we come down to here, switch hands. If you didn't catch that, watch it on the other side. So this goes down, this comes up. So my feet are parallel. I am turning my waist, but I'm concentrating that twist by not pivoting, right? So if the purpose of this movement is to twist, then I would ruin it if I turned. I wouldn't be twisting anymore, right? So I want to feel that twisting. And you can sink down too. And we can go big. This is also reminiscent of our white crane. Not the way we do it, but in some forms, there's sort of a side-to-side feeling in your white crane. And also, this is very reminiscent of cloud hands also. So this is a neat movement because feel there's a pull and a push. Orange hand is pulling, yellow hand is pushing. Keep everything big and round. I just noticed that I was kind of closing down my shoulder. I want to keep my shoulder nice and open here too. We're going really big because this is a big movement. When we do it with the moon, it's not nearly as big. And remember, some people embrace the moon very small, right? So I'm going to go big again. Okay, one more time to the other side. And then we can come here, just hold that ball, take a moment, take a breather here. Feel that presence in your hands. Cultivate that feeling, whatever you feel. Cultivate it so each time you do it, you feel more. Maybe you can feel that presence of that ball. You can feel it as you try to compress the ball. You can feel it as you try to open the ball. There's resistance in both ways. All right, great. Again, press pause and meditate there for 5 minutes if you want. Otherwise, have a sip of water. So we'll do a movement from our form. I think it's movement 9 or 10. Well, it's all through the form. It's push. Okay, we have a bunch of push. This particular push in our form is called wave crashes to shore. And so let's just look at the whole variety of pushes, or at least a couple ones. And a downward push versus an upward uprooting push. So and the 4 fundamental energies. On is often thought of as a downward push. And why would you want to do a downward push? Again, you would think that you would always want your push to be upward and uprooting. But you can uproot someone by smashing them down into their root and then causing them to expand upward, right? So this is exactly what's going on in our form. From wave, when we do wave crashes to shore, and the wave crashes to shore, that has the way a wave comes in is it rolls in, it builds, and then it crashes to shore. It goes. So I'm shifting my weight forward and back. It goes out, comes back out into the surf, builds up again, and then crashes to shore. So it goes out. I come up. I'm kind of open here, and then I close. Back. Open. And then close. Kind of rise up, open, not too, and then close. So if you think also, my hands are not even in parallel. I'll turn the other way. Let's switch legs. Doesn't matter which leg is forward, just do the opposite other one. So if it helps to sort of hold a ball. We're always holding a ball. If you don't know what to do with your hands, always hold a ball. But not like a basketball with my wrists bent back. When you think of push, you may think, if I had to push, but this shuts down chi. I can't move chi through a severely bent wrist, right? So even though you might have to do that in a real life situation, if possible, you don't bend your wrist that. Besides, you could hurt yourself, right? So what were we doing? Okay, so this is a downward push. Sometimes our downward push has the palms upward too, one of the palms. So, but anyway, back to where we were. So, and then when you hold this ball, you can imagine, you can get the opening and closing by expanding the ball and contracting the ball. So I'm coming back, opening, and then forward, and closing. So let me tell you about keeping my center, because I noticed myself almost going too far back. So if I go too far back, I mean, it looks neat. It looks like, ooh, he can shift his weight way back, but I've really lost my center. I want to stay in this range here, not double weighted, but not leaning back, and definitely not leaning forward, right? So my center is as a concept is a very small area, and we're cultivating that, right? So if you caught me doing too much, so this is more of like less is more. Okay, so let me tell you the application. The reason why we're doing a downward push is that your partner has just attempted to do a shoulder strike. So your partner has come down and is about to come up, right? He's compressed down and he's about to rise up, but you've flanked him and you're about to push him. So he's already down. If you push him even more down, there's nothing he can do. And also, if he was coming up already, then you could follow that energy up. But he's coming down, and I'm very stable along this axis, but I'm really unstable here. So I'm coming in, and then that's when you get me, right? And so that's the reason it's a downward push, is you're smushing me even more further down than I already am. Okay, so let's do an upward push. Okay, so this would be exactly the opposite. So I'd come back, sink down, close, shift forward, and open, make the ball bigger, right? Sink back, down, shift forward. Give yourself a little bit, you've got a little bit more forward as you actually initiate the big push, right? And open the ball wider. So back, like that, other side. And we've done this with the Fa Jing before. So this is everything closes and everything opens. What I'm saying is your legs open, your back opens, your chest opens, your shoulders open, and but a little bit of restriction on that open forces the opening out through your arms, right? So a little bit of sort of restricting the opening. So if everything just went woo, it wouldn't be good. But if I kind of restrict that energy, and like squeezing the base of a toothpaste tube, it all comes out my arms. You can feel it. I wish we could do this with a second person. Sorry, we will. I promise you someday. Okay, so that's push. And that's a very stable thing. So now that we're very stable, we'll do our balance of the week. Golden Rooster stands on one leg. This is way back way along in our form, so it's not in the first 8 movements that we practice all the time. And this is a highly stylized movement. So you might see it done. Oh look, come right at. You might see it done like this with the. So this is our balance of the week. So sink into the supporting leg, and you're sort of pressing your elbow to your knee, but I don't want to be way over like this. Okay, so I'm going to turn sideways, see how well I can do this. If I crunch over, then don't even bother to bring the elbow to the knee, right? So, but it seems I can do it. I can kind of do it, right? But if I can't, I don't want to be down here. Leave a gap here and just feel it here. So even if there's a gap here, I can feel it here, right? and then this is, so what is this? And then, oh, remember, so when you lose your balance, you can use that as an opportunity to switch. Don't fall into it, but gracefully switch. Okay, so, and my foot's pointed down. So what is this? I mean, I can't say what it is in other forms, but in our form, the application is, it's certainly, we're very close. And certainly, so it's a knee, it's not a kick. In some forms, it's a kick and a strike. In our form, it could be a strike and a knee, or even an elbow and a knee. And this is a block. This is a block. But this could be a block too. It just depends. But in our form, I'll tell you exactly what's going on. We're on the offensive, and every time we do this, we are frustrated not by a block, but by our partner is very close and sticking to us, gaining the inside, and then pulling us down, and then we come back up. So it is apt that when you feel like you're going to go down, switch, right? So I come up, and then my partner pulls me down. I come up again, and so we can just keep doing this. And that's what it is in our form, okay? Good enough, good enough. If you want, press pause, go all the way back and forth across your area. But tell you what, why don't we do, let's take a little break, and then we'll do our form. Take a break right here. So here we go. So we're going to do so hi everybody, we're going to do the first 8.
Turn on that back line.
And this is Steve. Wave at the camera, Steve. And we're going to demonstrate the first 8 movements with proper social distancing. So we're never going to actually make any contact, but you will be able to see how the A and B goes together, because we're going to stop at each individual movement so you can see at least how it lines up or what the thinking is martially. So we're going to go really slow, and we're going to actually physically stop everywhere that's necessary. So the first thing, so Steve is A and I'm B, and he would start just stepping out, and first we bow. And then he starts and by stepping out, and he stops right there. My only response, so if I did nothing, he'd catch me right under the chin, or he could stick his fingers in my eyes, and or he could use that as a rangefinder, as a jab, and just when he feels contact anywhere on my body, he knows. If he was blindfolded, he would know where I am, and his next blow would be right on target. But what I do, my only response, is to step back and bring my weight to my back foot. So then that's the beginning of White Snake, darts out its tongue. What I just did has no move, because these are implied movements in the first move. So then he steps through and comes right on the center line, punches with his right hand, and his weight is slightly forward, and I do. So if I did nothing, he'd catch me right here, anywhere from here to here. Sometimes they refer to this form as a 3 powers form, because it has a high, middle, and a low. This would be anywhere in the middle section. And so if I did nothing, I would just get it right here. But I step back, I come under, and I entwine, and I come into dragon pose. And then, so now he has to prepare for his next movement, and his preparation is to do 7 stars. He comes around and crosses his hands, and then steps his foot up even, and so he's deflecting my hand up, leaving me very vulnerable right here, and he's just going to step the right foot through and punch again with his right hand and stop here. Boom. So if I did nothing, I would get it right here. But my response, and see how he still has a light contact with his left hand to my right hand. He's gonna keep that contact, even though I come in with my single whip, and I drop this beak over his wrist, and then I twist, and I drive my fingers right into his eyes, but he holds a ball and does single whip and sinks back into his back foot. Well, don't go that far yet. Just hold a ball the first way. Switch hands, please.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah. So,
Okay.
and he shifts his weight back, right? Okay. So that's his white crane, and now he's ready. That's not an attack. That's a defense. His attack would be to switch hands. And then I'm vulnerable to his shoulder strike. So if I do nothing, I get it right here, right? But don't move a muscle. I come around and do strike a tiger. Boom, right in the kidney. So if he does nothing, he gets a punch in the kidney. But he is going to pivot and get ready to do elbow strikes to heart. Yeah, perfect. So I'm repositioning. This is not in our form. I'm repositioning. I just did strike a tiger. So I'm super vulnerable. I would get his elbow right in my sternum so he can complete that move, and then freeze there. But I move back to here and do pull. So, and still don't move, but my intention is to borrow his force and pull him back over. But he feels that pulling and he retreats. So when he retreats, or he just swings his elbow. When he does that, I follow him and I push him, and he comes over and does ring the gong. So if I did nothing, I would get a back fist right in my face. But at the last moment, I nudge his elbow up and see how that straightens his arm. He physically cannot bend his arm back anymore, and he has no leverage at all. So I just nudge his elbow up, and then I step in and do a shoulder strike right to his ribs. So if he did nothing, he would get a shoulder strike at his ribs. But he steps around to strike a tiger left, bam! And if I did nothing, I'd get it right wherever he chooses to hit me. And I'm going to take a couple steps. I come around, I do draw the bucket from the well. So we're right up against each other normally. So I make that hoop shape that keeps him off me. And then this is the well, and then out of the well comes this devastating back fist right to his nose. But he moves that back fist out of the way with his hand. See what he just did there? And then that elbow comes right in here. He steps back. His foot he's okay. No. Go back to where you were. That foot went right behind my foot. You couldn't see it. And then it's implied. And then he pushes me back and I fall. But not moving a muscle, I'm going to move. So I come around and push his hand down, which is not a super effective move, but it's in the form anyway. He turns to face me, gets my hands off of his arm, and does inspect horse's mouth. But I come under his, so if I did nothing, my hands would be spread, and I would get his fingers in my eyes, and he would also be kind of deflecting down any counter that I had. But instead of countering that way, I come under the elbow, nudge his arm up, and come in. So this is my white snake, darts out its tongue. I open the mouth of the snake, come in. So all he has to do is circle his arms around and come to dragon pose. Ba-boom, and there he is, and we're back where we started. Now, so if we wanted to switch sides, and we won't do the whole thing, but if we wanted to switch sides, I would come up, I'm on the A now, I come up to 7 stars under his wrist, he does nothing, I step up, I do carry hammer, he does single whip, and then I would do white ape swings through branches, and we'll stop here. Very good, thank you. So the first 8 movements explained. Great, so now you can see them, and this should remind you back of the old days when we did this with full contact. So thank you very much. All right, and we'll come back. So now, let's do our form continuously and smoothly. The first 8 movements. So you can see what it looks like. We'll try not to stop at all. We'll try to be very, very smooth, and we won't worry too much about our applications. I'm going to start way back here. We'll do the A side, the first 8 movements, then we'll do the B side, and maybe we'll do the B side plus the A side just to cement it in a little bit. So here we go, relax completely in our resting posture, and then off we go. So left foot comes up, this hand comes up right on my center line. I come right through, punch right on my center line. Not leaning forward, don't give up your center. This is 7 stars. As the hands come up, it slides the left foot up next to the right. Right hand drops down, right foot forward, carry hammer. Okay, sink back. This is our white crane, switch hands. Very reminiscent of lion rolls the ball, but this is white ape, swings through branches. Okay, I'm shifting left. You really can't see that. I'm shifting back right. Remember, my partner's behind me right now. I pivot, I step up, I step over, I shift right, but not too far. I shift left. Elbow strikes the heart. Either it works or it doesn't. I can't lean into it. And then I come back and ring the gong. It's weird because my weight is here, even though it's a attack. And then I step around, strike a tiger, step up, strum the lute. And then I'm going to pivot way around. I'm going to face west, inspect horse's mouth, and then a little half circle with my arms here as I step back, and then circle back up the other side to dragon pose. So this is more stylized than what we can really do with a second person. But again, we exaggerate in our solo form, and it feels good. And we can't do that with us when we're working with a second person. So let's do the B side. I'm going to face the other direction than what we normally do. This will allow me to not turn away from you as much, and also allow me to transition into the A. Okay, so so off we go. So let me check one thing. Meditate, please. Let me just check one thing. All right, we're good. Don't leave. Okay, here we go. Okay, so you were meditating. You didn't notice anything different. Let me make sure. Yeah, we're still good. Okay, here we go. All right, so we'll begin. Right foot goes back. Left foot steps back. Dragon pose. Single whip. Step around, strike a tiger right. And then I'll overturn so you can still see me. Step back. This is pull. This is push. Step up and a shoulder strike. So I may have to keep, in the two-person form, I might have to keep my hand up here, but I would come here, shift back, pivot around, step in and back, draw the bucket from the well. Okay, shift back, pivot right, Step the left foot in and back, downward push. So look how we can transition into the A, and it'll be just the way we just did it. And you get a slight different angle on it, slightly. 7 stars. I'm moving a little faster right now intentionally. Carry hammer, white crane, white ape swings through branches. Okay, this is all a little more familiar this time. Step up and over, elbow strikes the heart. Ring the gong, strike a tiger, strong dilute. Hope I'm not going too fast for you. A lot of people love to rush their form, so it's more common for people to go too fast than too slow. And we'll stop here. Excellent. Okay, great. So let's do our final Qigong and with a quote, and you'll have a great week. So remember, we'll do our favorite, lifting water. So we explored reversing the breathing on this. So I shouldn't even tell you how to breathe. I should just allow you to breathe the favorite way you like. But let me turn sideways. So this ball thing, there could be like a big ball here. My hands could be floating on top of a big bubble, right? And then they slip off the bubble. And then they come up again and rest on this big bubble and then down. And then you could also feel maybe that you're holding a large beach ball. That's a very interesting interpretation of this movement. You have to drop the beach ball at this point. You're not holding the beach ball now. Right about now, you begin to grasp the large ball. So just another thing that you can play around with. I told you I'd never let this get boring for you. This will be my last one here. Stand and meditate. I'm going to see which quote I've selected for you. How about another one from Confucius, circa 500 BC? Every man has 2 lives, and the second one begins when he realizes he has only one. And thanks for coming. Thanks for joining me. Wonderful time to spend with you. And I believe there's a good chance we'll do another video. I'll either see another video next week or I'll see you in person, which will be wonderful. Thank you so much.